have to pay a $45 Uber, to get home.
Yep.
I mean, you go to a place like Rhino Yacht Club, and you think to yourself, I wish my neighborhood had a Rhino Yacht Club.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where it starts, where that proliferation starts happening. And then before you know it, every neighborhood has a great place to hang out and drink great wine, eat good food.
I mean, I love it. And not only is that'll be just a hot corner, but it's right there near the rock drill, so you have that large community to pull from. And then Park Hill, like Chris was saying, it's fucking bumping. Speaking of which, do y'all know the folks over at Trellis Wine Bar, the new one that opened up in
Just
Park?
met them last week.
They just opened up. They have a killer happy hour for our listeners at home. I know this is for our wine fins.
I need a happy hour in my life. See,
it's a 4 to 5 p.m. half off every glass of wine on the menu.
All right, here we go. Sheesh, speak my language.
And the whole menu is a big ass chalkboard in there, and it's got these big natural light or big open windows and like open kind of vibes, so it's natural lights coming in.
They told me they had you climbing all over their ladder last time you were in.
I wasn't there.
Yes.
I've started to make a name for myself in the wine community, but not in the most flattering of senses. They're like, yeah, Kip was here for Wine Flight Wednesday when Chris goes to work with Bobby on a Thursday. But it's been
your
fun.
photo hanging in the office.
They're like, don't serve
Beware.
this guy. Yeah. It's like when you're. It's like when when you were under 21 and you have your ID taken, they'd put it behind the window so you could see it. That's what every restaurant manager has in Denver right now. They're like, he's the worst, but he tips well. That's
At least you do that.
I know that I'm a piece of shit. I spill on myself and around myself.
I'm a spiller.
And I ask for a lot, so I have to tip a lot. I know
it's all good. But one question we haven't asked in a long time is breakfast food.
Do it.
And I'm curious, where do you guys go? Especially maybe just in general, but then Benny, after a long show, where do you go for like breakfast food?
You mean like after my show gets out at like 2 or 3 a.m.?
Well,
or like the
like,
next morning?
Yeah.
I don't want to steal Paul's place because I've actually only been there.
Don't take
once.
it.
I know.
It's mine.
It is. I used to be a major breakfast dude. What was your
I'm a
croissant, like ham and Swiss croissant, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the beautiful French pastry that I always get. Yeah, I think it's just that. That exactly.
A croissant?
Ham and cheese, ham and Gruyere. I'm a simple dude. I like cooking my own breakfast. To be honest, I'm a luncher. I'm a lunch and dinner boy. Straight out. I'm skipping the question. What do you think of that?
I'm fine with that.
Let me come back to it.
It was an answer. You just gave an ansser.
I did. Yeah, you're right. So. Paul, do your good one. Paul's got a good one. Check
I have
this out.
the one.
He's got the one.
What is it?
Let me clue you in here.
Give it to me. Let's hear it.
I have the Breakfast King. Are you people out of your minds?
I know the Breakfast King.
It's in our neighborhood. Benny just moved in to a new apartment around the corner from me. So it's now in our neighborhood down there on Broadway. And it is just the most diner type of situation. The best pancakes, the best BLTs, everything that you could want. It's perfect.
And this is the one
I know that place.
Up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the one near us, actually, which always
it's a little
closed.
bit up. It's a little bit up.
It's the one right there at the cross street where there's a meeting.
Santa Fe, Mississippi.
Is there still a strip club next door?
That's correct. It's for sale.
Oh,
it's for sale.
Okay.
They went out of business.
I wasn't sure if it was that one.
Breakfast King is strong.
I did drive by there the other day, and I used to live down there in Overland. So
okay,
I know. And they serve huge ass platters.
What's the go-to order at Breakfast King for you, Paul, on a Monday?
So I'm in the same.
Who the fuck goes out to breakfast on a Monday morning?
Somebody who wants to start their week off great.
Well, here,
that's not how you do that.
I can't really eat until like noon or 1 o'clock, so I'm not a big like breakfast. I'll have a banana maybe, but the major thing is for me the BLT. You go and you have a BLT. You can have the fries are great. You can sub that out for onion rings if that's your speed, or maybe a side salad if you're trying to watch your figure.
Over here. You're at a luncheon.
No, I consider BLT as an acceptable breakfast food. There's bacon. Are you crazy? And toast.
That is
You're crazy.
It is not a breakfast sandwich. It is acceptable to eat at breakfast because as a Southerner, we'll eat BLTs.
Yeah,
at any
BLTs
time.
can go breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And even late night. Like, you can put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in a cooler, and I'll eat it soppy wet.
We've all had
it's great.
a couple.
Yeah.
That was chillings.
Okay. That's a great. I love it. The Breakfast King's a sleeper because I think the real locals of Denver will be like, I appreciate that answer.
Yeah.
There used to be
Sam's number 3.
Do you really like their
Curtis.
food?
No, I just
See?
sorry.
It's like a Food Network stop off. Like it's like a gimmicky 12-pound burger or a 12-pound burrito.
Fuck breakfast, man. Like a lot of these dudes are doing
One
bad
Fold.
breakfast.
I mean, I don't know where we got on it, but I mean, I'll shout out One Fold.
Yeah, them and Waffle House.
And and Wake and Bake on Broadway doesn't suck.
Wake and Bake.
They have kolaches.
Yes.
They have kolaches.
Yeah, I like those. That's what I like. I like these little baked goods with some egg in it and some cheese and maybe a little bit of meat. I think that's like a fun.
See, that's the northeast of you speaking out. Wait, do you call it a pork roll or do you call it?
No, that's like Philly shit. I'm up there.
Okay, I don't.
Breakfast sandwich, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, get
No,
the
you're
fuck
good.
out
Pork
of
rolls
here.
are
That's
different.
Philly.
A pork roll is like a ham, isn't it?
Yeah,
They just call it
Taylor ham?
Taylor ham.
But Corvus has some really nice little things. What's the great breakfast place? There we go. Stowaway fucking Kitchen.
Yeah.
I know you said
I
something
was
about them
there the
recently.
other day. I was at
That is actually. There we go. Now we're on the zone.
If anyone from Stowaway is listening
Benny's
right now,
vibing right
I'm
now.
begging you to please bring back the banh mi, the vegan banh mi
that's
sandwich.
right.
I have dreams about that thing. And last time I was there, it wasn't on the menu. So if
well,
you're out there,
They are out
please,
there.
Hear my plea.
They were on the podcast as well, so we'll make sure to tag
Great
them in this
people.
episode.
Yeah,
That
please.
was a fantastic one.
Shout out one of my favorite sandwiches in the entirety of Denver.
I mean, one of my favorite couples I think we've interviewed. If we had to go look back through all 160 some episodes, they're up there. They're some of the coolest fucking people out.
I would
there.
love
New
it.
Zealand accent helped with.
Oh yeah, it did. And there's. Oh, I love this. I love this. We're pouring wines and diving deep into the catalog. Benny's vibing. All right, guys, so here's a question for you. That's not urine. That's just ASMR wine, baby. All right, so y'all are both products of are now members of The Road. Y'all mentioned y'all are going to Lisbon for the Natural Wine Convention to meet up with our friend Wendy Lynn. It's pretty much I'm the third leg of the tripod that won't be there, and I'm disappointed. But let's talk a little bit about travels. Where's your favorite place to go visit, or when you're visiting, the food and wine scene surprised y'all the most? We only have 2 more questions after this, so I'm just curious where y'all like to travel.
Yeah, man, that's a good one.
So where
Like you travel a lot. Where's your city? What city were you like? Fuck, this food and wine scene was actually popping.
Well, let's go Europe and U.S.
Yeah.
So where in
Oh
Europe?
yeah.
Well, it goes to in Europe. I mean, Berlin really came out of nowhere. I didn't think it was going to be that together, and because of course all the different cultures that now congregate in that city.
Germany's great.
Germany is really dope, and there were so many natural wine bars and just cocktail things. It was just everywhere, certain neighborhoods. It was just surprising. I'm not going to go like Barcelona and just like typical. Like I'm trying to just go a little bit different what I've seen. So I'll stick with Berlin. Paul, let's do a Europe.
Yeah, I like a Prague.
Okay.
I think of Prague. The food is great.
Fashion.
Beautiful.
Fashion, yeah.
No, they have definitely I think a cocktail-driven kind of culture.
There we go.
But just again, just good quality, just great place to be.
I went to a champagne bar, and what's the crazy? For not the vermouth, absinthe. I went to an absinthe and champagne bar in Prague. Like that was cool.
I'll also add Moscow to the list.
Now here we go.
Ooh.
Really sleeper,
It's a major sleeper.
wintertime sleeper.
Please tell me you have a Burt Kreischer type Moscow story that he made friends with the mafia and got free shit and a bunch of that stuff.
You just look real mafia.
I know, you look
Paul looks a little
mafia.
mafia today. He's got the glasses. It looks like he's like in the casino, like in the later parts of their career scene.
I'm over here now.
No, he actually looks a little more like he's on the Italian coast. Like he may.
Hey, doing my money on mafia. What do you do? Oh. Yep. No.
You can get a Pesci.
Hey, how you doing, Joe Pesci over here? What the hell's and now you think that because you're doing this and you're from the Amalfi Coast, you mutter. All right,
Mutter.
Don't get me going.
You mutter.
I don't want to let stop.
Give me a.
All right.
Is that funny? Am I funny?
You
like Goodfellas?
U.S.
Oh
spot,
yeah.
Yeah, but so in America, or I'd also like to just really put on the map is Japan, Tokyo especially, Osaka. Just I'm not like trying to be that dude, but I've been lucky enough to go to that place a couple, handful of times, and it's just the best. And it's just
I've never heard anyone say another city that if you had been to Japan, then it is 1A. Like, no one has ever had it as number 3 on my favorite cities. It's always, I went to Japan and it was revolutionary.
It was.
Like, you know, like
It's a game changer.
everyone has said the same thing. Restaurateurs,
quality,
friends, like everything is.
And history, every aspect of Japan is what you exactly think it is, and it's better than everything.
Well, it's probably that way too. Also, just
and
because
they
like
know it.
the vast difference in culture.
That
Like
also
even
plays a
in
big
Europe,
role.
there's a difference, but it's not as stark as like say coming from America.
Well, I mean, would you say Beijing would be more stark? Like,
Let's say
but-
they're
yeah.
kind of equal. You know, like the Asian cultures, it's just a little different than.
But I
Europe.
mean, Thailand is quite trafficked by the Western people, and people aren't going to come back and be like, "Yeah, Phuket was number 1."
yeah,
You know,
I don't know.
You-
right?
But I
but
think you're going
everyone
for-
says Japan. Like, if they have been to Japan, Japan was like it's the bee's knees.
It's just it's highest quality in every aspect of life. Every little thing, the
That's
details
awesome.
are just so thought of, and there's so much history and just behind it. In America, we don't have that amount of history. What's your glass that's about to go? There's a dog
That
with a
scared
tail
me.
around here.
Yeah,
a lot
dude.
of glass.
Get him.
He's hijacking with. How do you say no to a dog? You're gonna have to deal with it.
Look at him.
He's
He's
so-
just staring
he's
at
good.
you. He's
He's
like,
very
I
cute.
farted on the pillow.
So anyway, Japan is that. Let's go to America, Paul. What do you got for America?
Yeah, if for the foodies that have a domestic flight, as we're probably going into lockdown, what is the best
No.
place to vacation?
You know, I'll give a shout out to my
Doing it.
homeland, DC. I think that there's so much like off the beaten path and like off the like maps that you see on the websites of just great food. You can have everything from like a Michelin starred experience if that's your vibe, or you can have just some of the most like real, like soulful, delicious, like homegrown chefs and restaurants and like I mentioned before, now
is
a
it fairly
great
diverse
natural wine.
culinary
Yeah.
scene?
Absolutely.
I was 13 last
crazy.
time I visited DC.
DC grew
Yeah,
to be a
DC is
killer.
just a melting pot.
From when
Well,
in
I
the
just
years
didn't
I
know,
lived
like,
there,
no one ever puts it like I don't ever hear about it between the New Yorks and the LAs. You
Yeah.
don't hear DC thrown in there as cool.
I would say from the time that I lived there, from 2010 to 2018 or so, it changed dramatically. I think it still continues to change, and I think that a lot of the things that you see that are really like meaningful and wonderful in DC are things that are from folks who have been there forever. You know what I mean? People always talk about it as like a very transient city and people always come and go. But you have the real cats that have been there for a really long time, working in hospitality, working in restaurants, who really know the scene and know the people who live there. And they give them the things that they want, the delicious, wonderful things. So I definitely would say if you have a chance to go and eat food, you got to go. You got to go to DC
But
and just
you-
really give it a chance.
Yeah, you're
I
getting
mean,
tipped by
you
lobbyists.
need to reach out to Paul before you go because he'll tell you which ones obviously are
100%.
getting the best crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a great one. And Benny, as someone that's always on the road that loves a taco truck, who's your food city on tour?
I mean, obviously L.A., San Fran, and New York and Chicago. They're obviously going to be.
Yeah, I was trying to think for a
I know.
sleeper like DC.
Yeah, so
I
those
thought was
go
a good
take
answer.
them away. Obviously, I lived in New Orleans for a long time, so New Orleans you'd think is that too basic too? Of course, I'm going to say New Orleans.
I mean, no, it's not basic except for the fact that I preach about it on here
Yeah,
because
so
that's
let's
where
get
I
out
was.
of there.
But I mean, you can put us on so many cities
know,
because you're hitting everything from
and I do,
fucking
I know,
Portland to Phoenix and
But
Portland, Maine.
now that I do it so much, I try to just like save all my money for L.A. and not go on to Birmingham. Sorry, y'all. But okay, I would actually shout out to Birmingham. I know Birmingham's getting better, but it's not.
Birmingham, Alabama?
No, yeah. I was making a joke. Sorry,
Get the
brother.
fuck out of here.
No, I'm kidding.
He's the
I'm joking.
Alabama.
No, I know you are.
I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Nashville. I would say Nashville. I was just over there. Cocktail scene through the roof. Natural wine catching up.
Is it?
Food.
It's more than
so
Broadway.
much dope food.
Are you
Yeah,
talking
it's
East Nashville?
There's East Nashville, West Nashville is doing some great stuff. There's
Did you
just so
run into
many-
Sean Brock when you were over there?
No, but I know he's there now, but he's generally a Charleston.
Yeah.
Was a Charleston stalwart. But anyway, Nashville, I was extremely impressed. That's the city that's got my heart of the last 6 months.
All right. Well, since
That's a great answer, right?
Since you're shitting on Birmingham,
Here we go.
What's your favorite venue in Birmingham?
Wasn't it the one I played? The warehouse, the wheel something with a W?